on the topic of medical marijuana, this is a widely controversial topic due to the fact that multiple people in multiple states believe that it is to be more harmful than productive. A large group of citizens believe that it is more harmful than productive because it is not necessary. Medically speaking, there are many health benefits to marijuana as an alternative from narcotics and opioids. There are far less clinical proven addictive side effects to medical marijuana over prescription drugs that come in the form of pills. Marijuana is currently legal on the state level in 29 states and in Washington, D.C. It is still illegal from federal government's perspective. The Obama administration did not make prosecuting medical marijuana even a minor priority. President Trump promised not to interfere with the people who use medical marijuana, though his administration is currently threatening to reverse this policy. About 85% of Americans support legalizing medical marijuana, and it's estimated that at least several million Americans currently use it. Least controversial is the extract from the hemp plant known as CBD, because this component of marijuana has little, if any, intoxicating properties. Marijuana itself has more than 100 active components. THC is a chemical that causes the high that goes along with marijuana consumption. CBD dominant strains have little or no THC, so patients report very little, if any, alteration in consciousness. The use of marijuana for medical purposes is a controversial topic that has been debated throughout the U.S. for years. Today we will explain to you the problems with the medical marijuana as well as the benefits that could come along with its legality for usage and why it is important to consider the health benefits that it has proposed and some action steps you could take in support of this stance. Generally speaking, studies show that medical marijuana can have more beneficial qualities than not. A government-issued article on drug abuse stated that medical marijuana has multiple productive uses and could be used for THC-based medication. It has multiple components that have been subject to research and was debated to be said that THC itself has proven medical benefits in particular formulations. Also, it has been shown to treat nausea, cancer patients, and those who are going through long-lasting syndrome due to AIDS. Noxie, a mouth spray that is currently available in the UK, Canada, and several European countries for treating the specific and neuropathic pain, and may accompany no multiple sclerosis combined THC. Cannabis, the FDA has approved a CBD-based liquid medication for treatment of two forms of severe childhood epilepsy syndrome. Patients derive the antiseptic benefit. CBD does not have the rewarding properties of THC. Researchers generally consider medication like these, which has purified chemicals derived from the base on those in medical marijuana plant, to be more promising. According to Healthline.com, the mind-altering ingredient in cannabis is THC, short for Delta-9, has been steadily increasing over time. According to the National Institute on Drug Abuse, the average THC constant of confiscated samples were 3.7% in the 1990s. In 2013, it was 9.6%. CBD can also be turned into any oil for the use of healing. Cannabis is a Schedule I drug, even in the states where it is legal. Medical healthcare providers can prescribe it. So, though they can write a recommendation or certify patients for its use, and the recommendation or certify patients for the use in some states. According to the article, the two sides of hemp, medical and industrial, they consider these drugs to have no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse, and to be some of the most Dangerous drugs because they are highly addictive and may cause severe psychological or physical dependence. Other scheduled drugs. Other scheduled drugs include heroin, LSD, ecstasy, and meth. Many who are against marijuana believe the drug is dangerous, harmful, and feel it should remain illegal. When you weigh the pros and cons of consuming marijuana, it seems confusing that the drug will sit alongside some of the others that in the DEA list. The most controversial point about medical marijuana, like many other medical substances on there, is that it has its uses. It's the potential abuse of this substance that has many questioning its necessity. What can happen upon consumption with marijuana? Aside from lung cancer, smoking has the possibility of generating many pulmonary diseases that has everything to do with smoke and nothing to do with what's in marijuana. Cigarettes and cigar resistance have the same effect. When you smoke marijuana, the components may reach their peak within minutes. If you directly ingest marijuana through something like a pill, for example, you won't experience a majority of the health risks that come from smoking it. That's not to say marijuana is completely safe to consume in other forms. Cannabis directly interacting with two different types of receptor cells within the brain and body. It is difficult to determine the proper dosage when consuming the drug in this form, and so it's possible for those ingesting it to get too strong of a dose. If that happens, eating too much can cause severe vomiting, dizziness, and even loss of consciousness. With this given information, it can be rightfully assumed that despite the confirmation aimed at this topic, there are a few possible solutions. Doctors must confront the clinical, legal, and ethical implications as more states permit the use of marijuana. Keep an informative stance regarding the uses of THC. Some of the requests are clearly for recreational purposes, he says, but other patients have conditions that might benefit from marijuana. Another dilemma: a patient admits marijuana use during an office visit, and then there is a decision point. Doctors worry about running afoul of law enforcement somewhere, whether it's federal. Focus strong on beneficial aspects of medical marijuana. The medical benefits for many serious conditions. Explanation: medical benefits the alternatives of smoking. People's lack of understanding is likely the reason that they believe this topic is to be so disagreeable. We believe that medical marijuana should not be legalized because we live in a country where so many people use it for unintended purposes illegally. America has always taken offense to non-law abiding citizens. We cannot allow the facilities of the press to determine this topic. People with the viable reason for usage should be afforded to the opportunity. There is necessary sacrifice for the benefit of the ones in need. The people who oppose could simply not take part in the use. People will not take the use as well if the bill is passed. There have been protests based around this subject. Today, we explain to you the problems with the medical marijuana as well as some of the solutions based on the information provided. As previously mentioned, the use of marijuana for medical purpose is a controversial topic that has been debated throughout the U.S. for years. Do you think marijuana should be legalized? Why not? Would you want it to be legalized if it was able to benefit you after being diagnosed with a serious condition? How would you feel if your child, sibling, spouse, or other loved one was in need of this drug as an alternative for medical marijuana?